I'll just run through a list of different opportunities that I see, and this is by no means exhaustive. It's just something that I came across off the top of my head. So, electrical engineers, this is your world, designing battery systems, designing electrical systems, designing all kinds of systems. Electronics engineers, developing all sorts of electronics from the BMS to the IoT communication devices to chargers to controllers to anything else that interacts with the battery. Mechanical engineers, all kinds of thermal management issues, all kinds of structural issues with the pack. Chemical engineers look at the electrochemistry, setting up all these process manufacturing units for cell manufacturing or for cell recycling, all of that, material science. I think this would be the most crucial. Unfortunately, in India, we don't have a lot of research on this, but developing new chemistries or improving the existing chemistries, and using new materials to make batteries more efficient, more robust, make them long lasting, and then to commercialize these new technologies. It's a huge opportunity over here. And then software engineers, computer scientists, data scientists, you have opportunities at every single stage. You wherever you collect data or wherever you have a system where you want traceability, you can build a lot of things. For example, you have something called a cloud BMS where immediate control is done by the chip on the edge, but a lot of higher level control or prediction algorithms work on the cloud. And building that system itself is a big challenging problem. You have huge amounts of data being pinged. Just imagine building the software to handle a fleet of a few million vehicles pinging you data every second. That's a very interesting technical challenge. And then analyzing that data to make prediction algorithms to improve your batteries. So I gave a full talk on this opportunities for machine learning and technology generally. You can have a look at it. I'll share this deck with you later. And product managers, all of these software systems that are built, you'll have to look at it. And there'll also be opportunities for hardware product management. So every battery manufacturer will have a line of battery products. Someone will need to manage those. And there are a bunch of different kinds of products that you can build around it. Then you have project managers. So now who is going to build all these gigafactories? Who is going to build the charging infrastructures, the swapping stations? Who is going to help commercialize all these new technologies? So if you are interested in project management, there are huge opportunities over here. Supply chain executives, I don't even need to mention. This is a field that is ripe for people who are good at managing supply chains to come in and build in a lot more efficiency. Finance folks, there's a lot of interesting finance related stuff happening over here. So EV financing is a big, is quite going to be quite a big market, mainly because the upfront costs of EVs are high because the battery costs are relatively high still. But the overall lifetime cost of the batteries are lower compared to a typical internal combustion engine vehicle. So, what does this mean? This means that there's a lot of interesting opportunity for financiers to come in and play around with innovative financial models to increase the adoption of electric vehicles. There are a bunch of interesting startups working in this space as well, and also established companies. And then you have a lot of interesting M&A activity happening over here. So if you're an investment banker, you might want to look into the sector. And I mean, you have financial models for everything. So if you're setting up a plant, you will need someone good at finance to be able to model the whole thing up. So there are a lot of opportunities over there. For policy folks, again, there's a very, this is, I would say, one of the hottest areas you could work in because a lot of the technology is very new and a lot of the business models are going to be very new. And it's going to happen at a very, very large scale because we are seeing a very fundamental disruption of two of the largest industries in the world, transport and energy. And this will have a lot of implications. So, for example, the spread of electric vehicles will somewhat have a deflationary effect on the economy because the total spend will reduce. So, there will be a lot of interesting things happening because of that. So, how do you handle that at a very high level, at a macroeconomic level, but also at a more granular nuts and bolts level? What kind of regulations do you have? So I mentioned earlier there are no battery standards there. How can you bring in battery standards that are not too stringent to stifle innovation, but are still standard enough that the safety increases? Or how do you bring in regulations so that batteries are handled at the end of life in a safe manner? What kind of recycling policies do you have? So there are a bunch of interesting problems you can work in the policy space. And obviously, even apart from this, there are a lot of different kinds of roles. So if you think that you have any skill set or any job description and you're curious to know how it can be used, you can reach out to me at any point of time. And by the way, we are hiring people at Lohum for all these roles. So again, you can reach out to me for any of these.